What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing okay. So I'm about 75% of the way through, and I realize I don't think I've actually done a video on changing the spark plugs on the Syclone before. So I believe this is probably a bit different than a standard S10, given the all-wheel drive system and more specifically the downpipe and that kind of stuff. So the easiest way to do this is to actually go through the fender wells. You can kind of, if something's stuck, maybe reach down through the engine compartment, but 95% of the work is done right here through the fender well. And on the driver's side, I already got that done. Unfortunately, I wish I would have gotten the video, but the one challenging one was the number 3 spark plug because the drive, the steering shaft is kind of in the way. Luckily, it is semi-flexible, so the hardest part was getting in there to get the spark plug wire off without breaking it, and then because of the limited space, actually getting the spark plug socket, getting that little fucker in there. So and then, of course, putting the new one back in, it was a little bit challenging. So it'll take a little bit. I scratched the shit out of my arm trying to do it. I've been fucking with this for a little while now, and I've done this quite a few times. For some reason, it seems like sometimes they're easier than others. Maybe it's because it's like almost 90 degrees here in California. So, but yeah, so I quickly wanted to show you over on the passenger side where the downpipe is. And if you guys have any questions about the driver's side, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'll try to answer it as best I can. I just wanted to show you guys kind of where it's at and just give you guys kind of an idea what's going on with this in case you happen to have one of these vehicles, you're deciding to do it yourself for the first time. You just pick one of these up, or you just want to know a little bit more about the Syclones and Typhoons. So I'm going to flip this around and let's see what's good. All right, guys, so I already got this one. This is probably the easiest one, the number 6. Now we're currently working on, let's see if we can see. There it is. Let's see if I can get it in there. Yeah, see, there we go. This is was a little bit tricky. It was kind of hard to get the wire off there. Also, to note, when you put these wires back on, you have to make sure that none of the wires are anywhere near this downpipe. If any of the wires touch the downpipe, it will burn through, and then you'll get arcing, and you'll get things like knock and all sorts of problems when you start getting into boost. I don't know if it'll cause any idle problems, but something to be aware of. So we're about to pop this one in. So give me a second here. So real quick, you can see the new versus the old. So we'll go ahead and pop this in. And these things actually were not in too bad a shape. These are 2-year-old spark plugs, but I don't have very many miles on these, so they weren't in bad shape. I don't think that this is one of my issues here, but since it's been 2 years and I'm swapping out all the disposable, consumable parts, figure might as well do the spark plug. So let's pop this guy in here. So the next time I do this, I may actually not use a spark plug socket tool. Next time I might just go with a standard tool because the rubber, while it helps to hold the plugs in place, we'll see in a second here, it can actually make it fucking a big pain in the ass to get the socket off of the plug. So what I do is I just do it all hand tight because we don't want to strip anything. So I do it hand tighten, and if it feeds in, okay, now we know we're good. All right, we'll give this a nice little snug tighten. Boom. And now let's hope. Hey, we got lucky. Look, it actually came off. Perfect. All right, now just gotta grab this plug, and well, I can't do this with one hand, so. All right, so we got that firmly on there. It's nice and snug. We're gonna check the wires afterwards to make sure nothing's touching the downpipe. And now lastly, right around here, around the shock tower here, we got the number 2 plug. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can do this one-handed. Probably not, because we want to not damage this. All right, the number two plug, the wire was pretty nice. It came off. So now we just got to pop up in there, get that off. Get up in here. That we're going to need to get trying to show you guys this. It's a big pain in the ass. This just kind of shows how little room there is to do any of this shit in here. All right. There we go. All right, and now take this off and spin this out by hand. Let's see if we can. Boom. And again, all things considered, this doesn't actually look too bad. All right, got our new plug. Now we're gonna just try to very carefully and actually, all right, we're slowly getting it by hand, just spinning it nice and slow, taking it easy. The last thing we wanna do is get to the last plug and strip something. All right, so we're in there pretty solid. Now I'm just gonna go with the universal to get it up on there. So just make it a little bit easier to just get the job done. And we're basically done with this portion anyway. All right, so we used a universal right on the end of the plug socket. And actually it's pretty tight. So now let's just hope. Yay, it came off. So now we just attach our plug wire back on. All right, so we got these in there, we got everything tight, and we got it seated. So now the most important thing, the two most important things. One is to make sure that all the plugs, the wires are seated on the plugs properly. And then B, that there's none of the plug wires are touching the downpipe. And yeah, I'm not gonna really be able to show you guys from here, but it is, yeah, I confirmed that none of the wires are on the pipe, so we're good to go. Well, there it is. You know, it almost took me an hour to do this, mainly because of just accessibility and the socket, the spark plug socket. So what I would actually recommend is not using a spark plug socket with a rubber piece. Just use a regular Deepwell socket. You'll have less chances of the socket getting stuck on the plugs inside the block and then having to fuck around with that. So yeah, just use a regular Deepwell socket. If I have the presence of mind right now, it will say the size of that socket that you want to use for this. And take your time, be patient, don't break your plug wires. All right, we're gonna drop this down, fire it up, and just make sure that it sounds like everything's good to go. All right, we got it all taken care of. Everything is, I think, good to go. So what we're gonna do now is jump on in, fire it up, and make sure it sounds all right. A little prime. Issues I've been having while trying to pass smog is the fuel pressure with the vacuum line hooked up and the chip I got should be at 40 PSI. Some days it's as low as 30, some days it's up to 50. Trying to figure that out. I'm going to change the fuel filter out. The only other thing I can imagine it would be the fuel pump. Possibly the fuel pressure regulator, but it seems really weird that the fuel pressure regulator would be acting in such a way that it would maintain consistently at 40 some days, 30 or 50. Sometimes if I shut it off, turn it back on, it'll be different, which is strange. But you'd think if there was a fuel pressure regulator issue, it would actually move and be fluctuating all the time. And you guys can see, I mean, that's still 41 right now. So that's fine for right now. Actually, everything. Oh no, you guys let me know. How does it sound to you? sounds pretty good to me. So again, take your time, be patient, don't break anything, don't strip the plugs, and make sure none of the wires are on the downpipe when you finally get done. Thanks for checking this video out. If you guys have any questions about anything, please leave a comment down below. And if you guys know of any easier way to access or do anything for these trucks when changing the plugs, that would be great information. I'm sure people would love to hear. Y'all be as safe as you need to be out there. We'll check you in the next video. Peace out, everybody. That check engine light, so you guys know, that's because I swapped to all LEDs in the dash. So that is not actually the check engine light on. It would be much brighter if it's actually on. So it's a funny coincidental thing. I'm not sure why that's happening.